This week, you will be filling in the third section of your graphic organizer. So you are doing body paragraph 2. We have completed the introduction. We have completed body paragraph 1, which was about their early life. And then this week, we are going to be completing body paragraph 2, which will be idea 2 and their accomplishments. Okay, so yours should look like mine by the end of this week, and that you have the first 3 sections completed. Now, looking at the assignment, these are the questions that you are going to cover for the section of accomplishments. What other places has the person lived? Who did the person marry? How many children did the person have? What other experiences did the person have as an adult? What was the person's career? How and when did they become involved in this career? Did the person receive any awards or special recognitions? And last but not least, what problems did they have to overcome? Now, this is a lot of information, so you do not have to answer all of the questions. However, my advice to you would be, if you can find the answers to these questions, I would go ahead and add it to your graphic organizer, because when it's time to write your paper, having too much information is the problem you're going to want to have. You don't want to end up with too little information. Okay? So, again, you are filling in this graphic organizer. Your graphic organizer should be saved in your OneDrive. We've been working with it for the last 2 weeks, and we're now on the third section. Okay, and these are the questions that you are going to focus on. If I commented on some of your previous posts, or the introduction or the body paragraph 1, and I said that maybe you should move certain information, like I know people included who they married or maybe their children too early, then please move that information to this section at this time. All right, so just like before, you should open up your books over here and look at your reading list. Looks like Harry Potter glasses, and open up all 3 of your sources. So I have all 3 of my sources open here so that I can go through and find that information. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, this part took me probably the longest yet, because I really had to read in depth to find this type of information, okay? So I'm really digging deep in my sources, and I'm reading really closely. So once you've read through your sources and you have a pretty good idea of what you are going to talk about, I would make sure that you have these questions open as well. So I have my 3 sources up here, and then I also have the assignment so that I can look at those questions. And I know some people have been copying and pasting them into your graphic organizer. If that works for you, then by all means, you can do that too. So once you're ready, go ahead and split your screen. Yours will be in OneDrive, mine's in PDF Expert. And you're going to fill in this information, okay? So again, you can toggle back and forth between your sources, looking for your information, and you can also check in with these questions. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this so I can just show you what I came up with for mine. Well, actually, I'll leave these questions up. Okay, I do have a ton of information. When I write my paper, I probably won't be using all of this information, but I wanted to make sure that I had it. So first, I talked about... and I didn't answer these in order. First, I talked about his career and how he got involved. So I said over here, King began writing more seriously when he went to the University of Maine. He met his wife Tabitha, who is also a writer. So he met his wife Tabitha actually at college. And I meant to add that, but I know that so I can add it in my writing later. They have 2 sons. Oh no. So they have 2 sons, Joe Hill and Owen King. They are both writers as well. So I've answered the question over here about how did they get into their career, and what was his career, which I pretty much already focused on, and then who did he marry, how many kids did they have. So Stephen started working as a high school English teacher. He only made $6,400 a year. That's not a lot of money. He and his wife lived in a trailer in Hampton, Maine. So I'm talking about where else he's lived, and I'm talking about kind of how he started out in his career. They both worked multiple jobs, and he was not a successful writer at first. So he submitted a lot of stuff and it was all turned down mostly. So I'm already kind of hitting on what problems he overcame. Now, Stephen King threw away his first draft of Carrie, and Tabitha, his wife, found it in the trash and made him keep writing. Carrie went on to earn $400,000 for the rights to its paperback run when he finished it and had it published. Then it was made into a movie, and that movie grossed $33 million. So Carrie was really where he got his big start, and it's funny because he threw it away. So he wasn't even going to finish it. If it wasn't for his wife, he may not have ever done it. Over the next 6 years, he wrote 6 more novels, and he became a world best-selling author. He has won countless awards like the National Medal of Arts in 2015 and the National Book Award for distinguished contributions to American letters. Okay, so looking at these questions, I have told you he lived in Maine for the rest of his life. He still lives there, actually. I've told you who he married. I told you how many kids he has. I told you about some of his experiences with his jobs and how much money he made and how he threw away his first big novel. I told you about his career and how he became involved in it. And then I told you about some awards that he's won. Now, he's won a ton of awards, so I definitely could have added more. And if you're doing this, I highly suggest, like I said, that you add more than what you need. And I've kind of hit on the problems that he had to overcome in that he wasn't successful at first. He wasn't making a lot of money. He was very poor. And then at the end, I'm going to answer the problems one, him overcoming a little bit more in terms of like what's kind of still a problem for him. So I said, although he is a successful and celebrated author, critics often don't take him serious because of his fame and his genre. So one critic actually called him a rich hack, which obviously is not a good thing, who was comparable to McDonald's, and he said this in 1997. However, King obviously has not stopped writing, and the response that he's gotten from critics and readers alike has changed over time. But in response to the critics, King has said, and this is a direct quote, all I can say is, and this is in response to the critics who've often said that my work is awkward and sometimes a little painful, I know it. I'm doing the best I can with what I've got. So even with the critics, he has a very kind of good sense of humor about it, and he says, I'm just doing my best. Obviously he's super successful, has sold tons of movies or books and that have become movies, and so he's overcome these things. Now, I included this last quote from him in my accomplishments section, but after I read it, it kind of stuck with me, and honestly, when I go to write my paper, I might include it down here in my conclusion. But that's the great thing about a graphic organizer, is that you have license to move these things around once you have them in here. Okay, so this is not set in stone. This is to help you get your ideas together, so you always have that option later on. So I did answer all of these questions. I probably could have added even more information because there's definitely more out there, but I have a good bit here that I can work with when I'm writing this paragraph. So you want to make sure that you are getting as many of those questions answered as you can. Like I said, it's not set in stone. You don't have to write in complete sentences. I did. It's totally up to you. Okay, so you are only doing the body paragraph 2, which is the accomplishment section this week. And then when you're finished, you're going to submit it to this assignment. Okay, so make sure that you're submitting it to the body paragraph 2 assignment. And if you're one of those people that you worked ahead, make sure that you are submitting the same document to each of these assignments, okay? Because if you don't, then you're not going to get credit for it. So make sure that you are still turning these in each time there is a new assignment, even if you have worked ahead, okay?